How will DRS work in 2022? With car launch season well underway, the new cars have been raising all sorts of questions. But the biggest question of all is around the drag reduction system and how it will work on these next generation of cars. We've actually seen some teams release images, Haas being one great example of this, where it isn't obvious if there even is DRS for the upcoming season. It is safe to say that it will feature this year though, but is fully expected to play less of an impact in the actual racing itself because, on paper, the drivers should be able to fight in more areas than just hard braking zones at the end of a DRS straight. Not only this, but the cars should in theory be faster in a straight line anyway, due to less emphasis being put on the car's wings to generate downforce and more on ground effect, where the car is essentially turned into a suction cup, sucked into the ground to generate more grip. Does that make sense? I hope so. With Aston Martin's car launch in particular, we've seen a much better insight into how DRS is going to work this year. I love how there's been quite a lot of intrigue into how the mechanism is going to work, whether it's going to be there at all, when in reality, the system is very similar to what we've seen in previous years. If you take a look at the rear wing here, you can see that it is the same mechanism operated in the middle of the rear wing. There's a split in the rear wing flap along both sides, and the beautiful DRS pod is ready to open up and produce some overtakes when within 1 second of the car ahead in a party zone. It's a DRS zone, but I think party zone sounds much better. An interesting insight into the new cars and the use of DRS this year is that a lot of F1 teams think their reliance on using this tool to overtake will be far less than what we've seen since it was introduced in 2011. With F1 cars not really being built for wheel-to-wheel combat since, well, forever, overtakes have very much relied on a competitor getting into that DRS zone and closing up to the car ahead with the extra boost of speed they get via opening the rear wing flap and the car not suffering from as much drag, hence why it's called the drag reduction system. If you absolutely hate DRS, firstly, what did it ever do to you? And secondly, don't worry too much and go ranting on Twitter just yet. If the racing proves to be incredible with these new cars, which is what F1 is suggesting by saying that on paper, when a driver is only 10 meters behind their rival, they'll only lose 18% downforce compared to 47% last year, then DRS could be scrapped entirely and we can just enjoy every single lap of a Formula 1 race being chaos. This video is brought to you by Elgato, our official streaming partner. So if you are interested in streaming, creating YouTube content, or making a podcast, you should really have a look and see what they have to offer. I'm using their Elgato Wave 3 to record this very voiceover, their Stream Deck Mark II for managing any live streams I do seamlessly, and their Facecam for, you guessed it, capturing high-quality video. Check out all the products they have to offer over on their website by clicking the link in the description below. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves though, especially after Nico Hülkenberg had a simulation run earlier in the year in the new 2022 F1 car and decided to try and burst our hype bubble that it may be difficult to follow in dirty air. Come on, Nico, don't ruin the dream before we've even got to round one in Bahrain. If Nico's prediction does come true, though, expect DRS to stay for a little while longer while F1 scratched their heads over how the F1 teams with their brilliant minds have ruined their dream of closer racing. If you think about it, it's literally the F1 team's job to 1. Build the fastest car, but also 2. Create a car that isn't as easy to follow for their competitors behind. It's beneficial for them to be able to drop banana skins worth of dirty air. This year we will see several different concepts and ideas around the DRS system and rear wing in general. Teams aren't forced to produce the exact same rear wing as each other, and the goal is to be able to open and close the drag reduction system incredibly quickly and efficiently. Not only this, but they have to ensure that the system works 100% of the time because any failure on this part of the car could have huge consequences. There's a reason the DRS closes after a long straight, and that's because firstly, the DRS zone ends and it's in the rulebook that cars may only use it in permitted areas, and secondly, the cars lose so much rear downforce that they simply cannot go at full speed with it open. If this mechanism isn't faultless, it can be race ending. There you have it, a look into DRS in 2022. Would you like to see it scrapped if the racing proves to be good without it? Let us know in the comment section below.